Hi everyone, my name's Donkey, and today we're back on, well, we're not back on anything really, now that I think about it. We're actually starting a completely new thing. So before we've been almost entirely based in GameMaker. Today basically the feedback was mostly towards Python. In fact, I didn't get any towards GameMaker, so I thought, well, you know what, we'll go with Python then. So in this video, it's just going to be a little introduction almost to Python. I'm not going to go over any differences in this video, but what I'm going to do is show you what I use to do Python and what you can use and whatever, because it is different to GameMaker. There isn't just one thing you can run it in. There's many different things. You could just run it in Notepad if you really wanted to, although that wouldn't be ideal. There's a few things you need to get going though. You need to install Python. Now this should be relatively straightforward. You literally just go to the website, click the install, and if you're on Windows, you just install it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. And once you do that, you'll get something that looks a little bit like this, just it'll be in white instead of black, and the font probably won't be as big. Now, you might look at it and think this is your Python, this is how you start, and you might start chucking bits in, like print. Obviously that's new to us, but you might just start chucking bits in here. Now this is actually a terminal, if that makes sense. So this is not what you should code, basically. To be able to code, if you're using the shell, you have to go into File, and New File, and then you can code in here. And then you can save it as a normal file. Lovely. So that's how you would set up Python if you were going to use the IDLE, which is what this thing's called. Just the most standard way of using Python, nothing else needed. You literally can just set up and go. And I might be using this in some of my videos, or for majority of the time I'll be using something called Atom. So this will require a bit more work, and I will try to explain it as best I can how I use it. But it is kind of more up to you if you decide to use Atom. You can of course use any other thing. PyCharm, I'm informed, is very good as well. It's very simple. It's much more simpler than Atom. But you can do lots more with Atom. So it makes sense for me to use it. I'm going to go through how I use Atom. So you'll open it up and it probably will not look like this. So I'm going to go through some of my settings that I've changed and whatnot. So in the core settings, there's not much here that needs changing. If we go down to, no, it's not on this one. Basically, when you start it up, you'll have an annoying pop-up on the side saying welcome or whatever, and it'll be great for the first 2 times you open it, but then you won't need it. The little tick box around the bottom about here, and you just press it and it will go away forever. I can't show that now because it has gone away forever for me. I don't think we don't need to change many settings actually. I don't think at all. I'm going to go through my packages though, because Atom runs in a slightly different way, in that you have your basic text editor, which is just like Notepad, and then you add packages in which can make it do a lot more. For example, run Python files. So this is where it's quite different to GameMaker, because in GameMaker you just have one thing, your GameMaker exe, and you run it and brilliant, it works. You have objects and whatnot. And in Python what you have is just one text editor. You put all your code in and run it. It doesn't matter what you run it in, what you code it in, it's kind of up to you, because at the end of the day it just creates a file that you can just run in the console. So that's just a quick explanation there. So the packages even that I run are, some of them are necessary for this, so I'm going to go through what we specifically need for this one. We'll start off with probably the easiest one, autocomplete Python. So all you do is you go to install, you type in auto, you can even just type in auto and it'll come up, or maybe even autocomplete, and then you've just got to put Python on the end, and if you search it up, there you go, autocomplete Python. And you install this, and if I get a new file up, if I just put PR, or well, we need to save it as a Python file. So if we just save it as test.py, you can see that as soon as we even put p in, it's starting to give us options. If we start to put that in, then we can just click enter. This is why, in my opinion, Atom is much better, because if I just show you on the normal Python, you have to type the whole thing in, then you have to type the other bracket in and whatnot. With this, it's kind of quicker. It makes sense to use. So that is the most simplest one to install. It's going to be the same for all the other packages. Just go in here and install it, unless I say otherwise. So let's go. No, we'll stick with packages for the moment. Build is not essential. Clang is definitely not essential. So we're going to go through a thing that makes Atom maybe not as good for running Python files, and how you can get around this. So with the IDLE, I'm just going to whack that back up again. You can just run files. So if I was to just open the test, you can just run it by pressing F5, and it's really simple. There you go, you run it. So that is one way this wins over Atom, because to get around this in Atom you need precisely two packages. One of them is called Platform IO IDE, which doesn't actually do much. In fact, I'm not even sure if this is necessary, but you definitely need this one, Platform IO IDE terminal. And what this means is that when we are here, we can press Control, and then for me it's my @ symbol. If you're using an American keyboard it won't be, but I believe it's the apostrophe. Yeah, the apostrophe thing, that one. If you press that together, you open up a console like this, and then from here we can run it by typing in Python test.py. So it is a little bit more long-winded in that aspect, but once you've installed that package, and once you've got the hang of opening the terminal and typing it in, it is better practice. Another alternative to this is using scripts. I personally didn't find that as good, but you can go down that path. You can look into it. It's very simple. And that's about all the packages. There's one extra one that I use, which is Hydrogen. Again, that is very simple. You just install that one. What it means is if we go over to this line and press Control Enter, there you go. It shows you what this would output if we were to run it, which can be quite good. I believe we can also... No, we can't. So it is quite useful because we can see what this would output, and if we were to have a very complex table or something, we can see how the formatting has worked. So that's something that's optional. You can add that, and there is of course loads of other packages you can add. Right, so going on to the next thing, which I have done to set up my Atom, I've added a theme. So it's called SETI, and it's very simple. Again, you just go here, you make sure you click on themes, type in SETI UI, and there you go, it pops up. All you do, install it, and then go back to the themes and just change it here. It takes a little bit of time to do, and it'll load, but then once it's done, it's nice and easy. You can also get different syntaxes, but I personally just like to stick with one dark because it makes sense. Right, I know I've gone quite quickly there. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I've missed. There's a few other bits to do with the Platform IO installation. So if you're... make sure you install Python properly when you first do this. Before you install Atom, and then before you install Platform IO. And then if you do that all right, you should get to the point where it should just run. If not, you can always drop a comment or email me, or go in the Discord and ask me there. It doesn't really matter. I'll be happy to help anyway. But then hopefully everyone should have either Atom, PyCharm, any other equivalent, or if you want to, just stick with the IDLE. It will all run exactly the same at the end of the day. So if you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, or what do you guys want to do, and I'll see you in the next one.